We are on day one of a heat wave. It's so hot today. I have decided to do something a little bit more sedentary than furiously scrubbing polish off of stained glass windows. I have got out my watercolours and I'm going to sit under a parasol and do a painting of my mum's cabin. I love working in my mum's garden. There's a huge variety of wildlife. There's a little wildlife pond. There's probably about 6 nests that I've been able to count, with birds all collecting food around the garden. And my absolute favourite, there's a little pair of robins that are very tame and love to hang out. I've been wanting to do a painting of my mum's cabin for a while, but to be honest with you, it's been a really long time since I've done any painting. I've done bits here and there, but I'm actually super duper rusty. And I don't have a lot of confidence in my ability to paint, so today will be an interesting test to see what I make. My favourite thing about painting when the weather is sunny like this is the fact that the sun picks out really harsh light and shadows, so it takes a certain amount of decision making out of the process. Is it light or is it dark? For anyone wondering what this brush is that I'm using, it's a Derwent's water brush. You fill the handle with the water and then you can squeeze to increase the amount of water that comes out. It's an absolute lifesaver for detailed watercolours where I want to be very in control of the amount of liquid on my brush. Highly recommend. I'd like to think I'm maybe halfway through the painting now, so I'm going to take a little bit of a break and then continue. Come on then. Mango. Is that good? What a good bird. It's the next morning and I haven't been distracted by this gate at all and how the light is falling on it, and so I'm definitely not going to ignore the painting I was already working on and start a new one. Super happy with how this turned out, but it was nice to look away from the cabin painting for a little bit. Now that I've finished with this small detour, I'm going to go back to the cabin painting. Today I'm going to focus on the trees above the cabin and the foliage in front. The cabin itself I'm pretty happy with. Sometimes less is more, so I don't need to go over it too much. I think the foliage needs a little bit more detail, so I'm going to go in and do that today. First though, I do need to give this palette a little bit of a clean. I haven't been very kind to it and I've mixed a lot of the blues and greens and browns together. For anyone who went to school in the UK in the early 2000s, do you remember those watercolours in the red tin that we always had to use? They were horrible and chalky and made me hate watercolours. Well, the watercolours I'm using are not that. They're rich and lovely to work with, and when you're done they have a lovely shine to them. None of that chalky nastiness from school. It's been really nice to get back to traditional painting. So I've now got a very small collection of paintings that don't have frames, and I promised Mum that with her painting there would be a frame, so I need to make her one. But I also thought that for these little paintings it would be nice to make some frames too. They're 6 by 4 inches and I think that's pretty doable. This is not my first rodeo with making frames for paintings. I recently made a very large frame for a big oil painting that I had made, so this in comparison should be a walk in the park. And once again, I'm going to be making them out of scrap wood, so I shouldn't be spending any money on new materials. Might not look like much right now, but these are the makings of some frames for paintings, and hopefully they will be good and nice. So hopefully soon this will become a frame, and those will become a frame. This will become a frame. But first, we've got a lot of sanding to do. If I'm working on a project where I'm not really measuring and I'm just sort of eyeballing everything, I always make sure that I cut the end part of the wood off first. So this is my first mitre for this piece of wood, and then it means that I've got a good start point to measure from here, the shortest point, in order to estimate how many pieces of wood I can get out of this. I'm going to measure from here to probably roughly here. And I'm going to cut here with the mitre saw, and then this gives me this much wood to make the short length of my frame with. And then I'll do the same again with my other piece, and hopefully we'll have enough. I'm not really sure how I've managed this, but I've got this very wrong. This piece is way too short. I wanted something with a bit more of an edge around the painting. I think I'm just gonna keep going and I'll see if I can make it work. Gonna take off 6 centimetres. Maths definitely wasn't my favourite subject at school. Now that is a clean cut. If there's one thing I love to do more than making nice things, it's procrastinate. And the elderflowers are out. I have a pair of scissors. Mum and I are going to make some elderflower cordial. Is it weird that I foresee in my future a new career as a framer? I just really enjoy this process, especially as someone that makes art. It's such a nice way to finish off a painting, and I think you can be really creative with it. It makes me very happy. Also, applying varnish to wood has got to be the most satisfying experience in the world. Okay, yes, my frames would be very rustic, but we like rustic. I think a small frame directly around the piece of art might look nice, a frame within a frame, and also I can maybe make it so the pictures are interchangeable within the frame. If I get this the right size, it could just pop in and out. I'm going to try that. It's getting pretty late into the evening, so I'm going to chill out now and come back to these projects tomorrow. But I've laid out all the pieces in a kind of mock-up of how I plan them to be in the end, and I'm really excited about getting them glued and put together. I've also varnished the pieces for my mum's frame, and they will be nice and dry and ready to glue together tomorrow as well. All glued and ready to go. While this one dries, and I've got another one that I need to glue as well, I'm going to give this one a little bit of a paint job, and then I can stick it to the backing and add some art to it. This might distress or enrage some fellow artists or framers out there, but the way that I'm going to stick this painting into this frame is good old-fashioned double-sided tape. Please don't judge me. The end is on the horizon with these projects. I've got 2 down and 1 to go. What I have here is the makings of my final frame, all ready to stick together. So all I need to do is assemble these pieces and all of my painting and framing projects will be done. What a joy working on these has been. I think this has been my favourite project so far. It's quick, it's relatively simple to do, and you get really quick satisfaction from putting together just random pieces of wood, sanding them, playing around with them, seeing how they look together. I can definitely see myself doing more projects like this, and the final product is just so satisfying and so lovely. I hope you've enjoyed watching me paint and then put these frames together. It's been such a joy, and I can't wait to make more in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.